Hello, goblins. It's Chris, Eldritch Pipes. It's an episode of this week's Pipes. And a few other things as well. I've been watching Kaleidoscope on Netflix. I found it a very frustrating series. If you haven't watched it, I kind of recommend it. I really like the actors. The performances, the characters in the show are really great. And I liked a lot of the episodes. But when the whole thing was finished, I was pretty disappointed. I didn't really like the trajectory of the story, I think, ultimately at the end. I didn't like the fates of many of the characters. It kind of... It didn't do what I wanted it to do, really. It was a real shame, because a lot of it was so good. Yeah. So I enjoyed individual episodes, but I can't say I enjoyed the series once it was done. Very peculiar. Doesn't usually happen that way. This week has been a funny one. I say funny, not in a good way. You may have heard, well, you may not have heard, Royal Mail got hit by some ransomware hack. We think from the Russians. And all Royal Mail's international parcels, we don't know what's going on with them. I think the effect of the hack was to lock off part of their system where they could track their international parcels. And so it's just all up in the air. We don't know what's going on. We know that obviously the parcels have still got their addresses on. So many of us are hoping that the parcels will still get to their destination. There's no real reason that they shouldn't. But we have no way of knowing what's going on with them. I don't know if it will cause any other difficulties. Not really knowing how Royal Mail work, we don't know what the knock-on effects might be. I'm pretty fortunate. I think most of my parcels either left the UK or are now in the States already. All bar one, I'm not sure of the fate of. But I think it'll be fine. I hope it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. But it's unneeded, unwanted disruption. All right. Oh, my housekeeping. Rich dark flake. Ah dear. Is a grand blend. Yes, I know. It's not that easy to get hold of. I thought it was. It isn't. Something is still going on with Jermaine's. I don't know if it's got anything now to do with things like Brexit and whatnot, but clearly things aren't straightforward and the process is not a smooth one, so yeah. Which is a darn shame. But anyway, let's get on to some pipes. Now, last week, you may remember, I'd had a reading pipe to make. And so I made a whole bunch of them. Was that last week? Oh no, I had a whole bunch of reading pipes to make. This week, I had a acorn commission. So I decided that I would make a bunch of acorns. A couple of them, so 2 of them were available. They're gone now. They went up on my Instagram account on Friday, and they both went. I was hoping to be able to show them here and say they're available, but such is the way of things. I'm going to do these in no particular order, I think. So, this one's a contrast blast. I've done all of these with plateau rim because I just wanted that touch for these guys. So all 3 have got a plateau rim. And it will kind of show you how plateau affects the shapes as well. This is in a contrast chocolate and yellow. It's the buckskin, so it's slightly golden yellow. And the grain came out really nice. Straight grain, but it does come out in the shank. This is actually Cumberland, Japanese Cumberland. Because the chap wanted a dark green Cumberland, and I don't do a dark green. I have like a moss green, which is actually quite vibrant, and I have a jade green, which leans into the blue. It's a slightly aquatic blue, jade green. But this is from some Japanese Cumberland that I bought a little while back, that I just love the colour of. I don't have much of it left, in fact. I've got one more pipe to do a stem out of this material. It's with the full saddle stem, like mine. Because actually someone asked me if, when they saw the pictures of these new ones, was the full saddle stem a new addition? Because my personal preference a while back was to do them like the strawberry, which is a half saddle. So the saddle stem on top, taper stem beneath. And that's the way I liked it. It's the way that I did my strawberries, and I sort of liked the look for the acorn as well. But as someone had asked for the saddle stem like on mine, I was making it again, and I decided I actually really did like that look. Kind of for 2 reasons. I'm just going to put this down actually. One, it really accentuated the lightness of this pipe. It stopped it sort of being heavier down this end. And what was the other reason now? The other reason was kind of to distinguish it from the strawberry. So they both, in a way I suppose having it as a half saddle like the strawberry, kind of made the 2 shapes a little too close to each other. And so now rendering it with the full saddle really distinguishes the acorn shape from the strawberry shape, which I think is a bonus. Kind of a light blast on this one. Plenty of ring grain flowing up there, but the contrast blast really draws the attention to the straight grain. So that was the first one. That was the commission. Not sure who's next. So this is just a chocolate. chocolate sandblast. I don't know if the light is going to pick this one up, but the colour was rubbed back just enough so that there is some subtle variation, but you kind of like really only get it in the daylight. It just stopped it being too dark, too sort of ponderous in that sense. Slightly deeper blast on this one. You can see it's just a bit more rugged. You can see the straight grain. You can see the ring grain. It's all going on. Saddle stem. This time with the earth and ivory. Plateau rim. So this guy went to a fellow. Some people, this is what I've noticed. Most people, when there's a pipe that they really want, they will go ahead and commission. But a few people don't want to go that route. And I do understand it. They want to see the pipe before they buy, which I totally understand. So he got to see this pipe first because he was there on tender hooks, waiting to see what I would come up with, and snap this guy up. And that's super cool. So I think the stem stops this being super traditional, but it does have a kind of a classic look to it. Looking at it in the camera sometimes reveals things that I haven't always seen. So yeah. And that kind of like doing this one, as this was the second one, it really sold me on the full saddle stem. It's like, yeah, okay, I kind of see it now. It provides that kind of like sharp distinction. It kind of like makes the shank come to an end like at this point here. And then you just get that little bend that just, there's that subtle S that you get through the shank and the stem. There you go. Acorn number 2. And the last one, different look for this guy. So a more modern look for this. I really wanted to try some of this Yeti Blizzard. I haven't delved into some Yeti Blizzard for a while. I've been vibing on the Amber Flame for a lot. When I've been just reaching for that resin over and over again because it's like immediately attractive. But this, I'll show you the blue in a moment. You can kind of like see it. It just like it really glows next to black. You can't really do, in my mind. It could possibly go next to yellow or maybe just a natural briar, but I don't think it would go well next to a brown or even a red. It's kind of black in my book is the way to go. Nice medium blast on it, plenty of ring grain. It's the ring grain is prominent on this little guy. You can see the plateau rim again. Nice little S curve through the shank and the stem. Isn't that cool? It's so non-linear, you know, like where it's like the swirl like flashes up in some places, then it sort of like disappears down into the depths, pops up a bit, and then like comes to the surface again up near the shank. It's the kind of, it's that liquid style that is, I find really attractive about these kind of blends. Obviously the Cumberland style, traditional Cumberland, not my Cumberland, always gives you that very linear, very predictable. Well, con would be predictable, but pro would be reliable, I suppose, is the way you could look at it. Mine is chaotic, so always something different and new, but you never know what you're going to get. You have to balance those odds. But this is the game we play. There you go. That deep blue with the black. It's not to everyone's taste, but I like it a lot. All right. Anyway, so that's it from me. I should definitely be back next week. Yeah, I'm definitely making pipes next week. Pretty sure. I just want to leave you with one thought, that whoever said nothing was impossible never tried slamming a revolving door. Anyway, see you next week. Your loyal pipe maker.